The tire market in 2026 isn't just competitive anymore. It has split into two completely different worlds, and the gap between them is getting dangerous. On one side, you've got ultra-budget brands flooding shelves, cutting compounds, and quietly lowering safety margins just to win on price. On the other, a handful of manufacturers doubling down on research and development, pushing rubber chemistry and tread engineering to the absolute edge of physics, and charging you accordingly. Here is the thing. 10 years ago, a cheap tire was just less refined. You'd lose a little grip, endure a little more road noise, maybe replace them a bit sooner. Today, the gap between a budget tire and a premium one can be the difference between stopping in time and not stopping at all. That is not a marketing line. That is physics. Here is what the dealerships will not tell you. Those free tire upgrades and suspiciously cheap replacements you're being offered, they are not deals. They are inventory problems, and you are the solution. Brands nobody wants sitting on overloaded pallets in warehouses, desperate for a transaction. And the best performing tire brands? They do not sit on shelves. They move fast, command premium pricing, and quietly dominate safety tests you have probably never even seen. So here is the verdict before we even begin. Smart drivers in 2026 are not just buying tires. They are choosing which side of an industry they trust with their lives. Stick around until the end, because the final brand on our safe list is quietly outperforming everyone while pretending it is just another option on the rack. Brand number 1, Westlake tires, skip. Let us start with Westlake, a brand that was once acceptable as a rock-bottom budget option and is now a complete relic in a market that has moved on without it. Think of Westlake as the dinosaur of the tire industry, not just old, irrelevant. Here is the thing about Westlake. The parent company is Jonck's Rubber Group, and their entire business model prioritizes volume over innovation. That means outdated rubber compounds, weak thermal management under sustained driving, and wet braking performance that consistently scores between C and E on European Union tire labels. Translation: in the rain on the highway, these tires are asking you to gamble. And get this, Westlake tires are heavily present in bulk import markets and are routinely bundled into discount packages on entry-level cars. So if you bought a cheap used car recently and never thought to check what was on it, there is a real chance you are riding on these right now. The stopping distances in emergency conditions are materially longer than premium alternatives. Informed buyers replace them immediately. Bottom line, Westlake is not cheap. It is deferred regret on four corners. But if you think that is as bad as it gets, wait until you see what aggressive global expansion without quality control actually looks like. Brand number 2, Ling Long tire, skip. Ling Long entered global markets like a brand with something to prove, and then proved exactly the wrong thing. They scaled faster than they could improve, chasing European OEM deals and market share, while their actual product failed to keep pace with the ambition. This is what happens when a company mistakes distribution for credibility. Here is where it gets truly concerning. Ling Long's rapid European expansion produced OEM partnerships that looked impressive on paper, but independent safety tests have consistently exposed performance inconsistencies that those headline deals tend to obscure. Manufacturing inconsistency is the core problem. Batch to batch, tire to tire, the performance envelope shifts in ways that should alarm any engineer paying attention. Weak heat management under sustained high-speed driving compounds the issue further. The real kicker is that drivers report vibration, uneven wear patterns, and unpredictable grip behavior. Not just in testing, but in real-world use on real roads. Translation: you do not always know what you're getting, and that unpredictability is its own form of danger. Bottom line, Ling Long sells ambition. It forgets to deliver control. And then there is a brand that proves cheap can get even riskier when you strip everything back to the bone. Brand number 3, Goodride tires, skip. Goodride never really evolved. While the rest of the industry was advancing rubber chemistry and tread architecture, Goodride was standing still, and the market has now lapped it entirely. Up to 50% cheaper than premium brands sounds attractive until you understand exactly what that 50% is buying you. Here is the thing. Low-cost compounds degrade faster, significantly faster. Independent European Union testing has placed Goodride at the bottom tier for wet braking performance. Not once, not as an outlier, but consistently across multiple evaluation cycles. The tread design is weak on water evacuation, which is exactly the function you need most when conditions turn hostile. Drivers report a noticeable and measurable drop in performance after just 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers. Translation: by the time you actually need your tires to perform, emergency stop, standing water, a sudden obstacle, Goodride tires may already be operating well below the level they were sold at. Bottom line, Goodride is what happens when good enough meets a wet highway at speed. If value engineering concerns you, hit like and subscribe right now, because the next brand takes the concept of durability over safety to a genuinely dangerous extreme. Brand number 4, Chaoyang Tires. Skip. Chaoyang built its reputation on durability, and here is where the story turns ironic, because durability, divorced from grip, is one of the most misleading selling points in the tire industry. A tire that lasts long but cannot stop you is not a feature. It is a liability with a longer warranty. The core problem with Chaoyang is the compound philosophy. Hard rubber formulations extend tread life on paper, but they sacrifice traction, particularly in wet conditions and during emergency braking. Chaoyang pushes high export volumes into markets that respond to price and mileage guarantees. What gets lost in that transaction is the performance data those markets rarely ask for. Wet handling benchmarks are weak. Innovation in tread pattern engineering is minimal. And get this, the real danger with Chaoyang is psychological. The tire feels solid, it feels planted, right up until emergency braking reveals the trade-off in the most unforgiving way possible. There is a false confidence baked into the driving experience that the compound engineering simply cannot back up when it matters. Bottom line, Chaoyang lasts long, just not in the moment that defines everything. Not all budget problems come from overseas, though. The next entry proves that homegrown cost-cutting is just as ruthless. Brand number 5, Douglas Tires. Skip. Douglas tires were designed to win on exactly one metric: price, not performance benchmarks, not safety ratings, not wet braking distances, price. And when a tire is engineered to satisfy an accountant rather than a road surface, you end up with exactly what Douglas delivers: a product built for receipts, not results. Here is the thing. Douglas is sold almost exclusively through Walmart, and it rarely appears in serious performance comparison testing. That absence is not coincidence. The construction is simplified, reportedly sourced from larger manufacturers, including Goodyear, but stripped of the engineering layers that make those premium products worth the cost. They meet cost targets. They meet minimum regulatory thresholds, and that is precisely where the ambition ends. The real kicker is that Douglas tires are acceptable for low-speed, short-distance, dry-condition driving. So for a certain type of driver, they will never experience the problem firsthand. But introduce high-speed travel, wet roads, or an emergency maneuver into the equation, and the performance gap becomes very real, very fast. Bottom line, Douglas is palliative care for your vehicle's contact with the road, not a real solution. Now, before we get to the worst offender on aesthetics, we want to hear from you. Are you seeing budget tires like these being pushed hard in your area? Drop it in the comments below. Are dealerships and quick-fit chains steering you toward brands you have never heard of? Tell us what you are seeing on the ground, because your experience matters, and it helps the whole community make smarter decisions. Brand number 6, Accelera Tires. Skip. Accelera rose on style and price, found a loyal audience in tuner communities who love the aggressive tread aesthetics, and then quietly stalled on the performance side of the ledger, which for a tire is the only side that ultimately counts. This is a brand that understood marketing better than engineering, and the roads eventually exposed that imbalance. Here is where it gets truly alarming. Accelera scores weak marks in wet traction and noise levels across independent testing. The visual aggression of the tread pattern is not matched by the compound technology underneath it. Lower-grade silica formulations mean that what looks fast does not stop fast. Translation: the tread is designed to appear capable. The rubber chemistry behind it tells a different story. Hydroplaning risk increases. Road noise compounds over time. The tire ages in ways you feel before you see. And get this, this is perhaps the most insidious entry on the skip list, because Accelera actively targets drivers who care about performance. It wears the costume of a performance tire while delivering budget-tier grip metrics. Bottom line, Accelera looks fast, right until you need to stop. Now, let us completely flip the script. Brand number 7, Bridgestone. Safe. Bridgestone is what it looks like when a mass-market tire manufacturer refuses to let scale become an excuse for mediocrity. One of the largest global market shares in the industry, heavy OEM presence across multiple vehicle segments, and yet, quietly, consistently, one of the most reliable safety performers in independent evaluations year after year. Here is the thing about Bridgestone. The secret is not magic, it is discipline. Advanced nanoprotech compound engineering creates a balance between grip and durability that most budget brands have not even attempted to understand, let alone replicate. They invest in research and development not as a talking point, but as an operational philosophy, and it shows in the performance data across conditions. Manufacturers trust Bridgestone enough to fit it as original equipment on vehicles where reputation is on the line. The real kicker is that Bridgestone achieves this without the theatrical marketing of some competitors. No viral campaigns, no lifestyle branding, just consistent performance across wet conditions, varied temperatures, and extended mileage. Translation: you are buying engineering maturity, not advertising spend. Bottom line, Bridgestone is the quiet professional of the tire industry. No drama, just results. But if consistency impresses you, wait until you see what precision engineering elevated to an art form looks like. Brand number 8. Continental. AG Safe Continental did not start as a tire company trying to become trusted. It started as a supplier embedded deep in the engineering culture of the European automotive industry, and that heritage is bulletproof. Today, Continental dominates wet braking tests across European evaluations with a level of regularity that its competitors can only study from a distance. Here is the thing: the black chili compound technology is not a marketing name. It is a genuine engineering advancement, a silica-intensive formulation that delivers superior grip across a wider temperature range than conventional compounds. Combined with cutting-edge tread adaptability that manages water evacuation under conditions that would cause lesser tires to hydroplane, Continental has engineered a product that genuinely shortens stopping distances in rain. The data is not subtle. The gap between Continental and the budget alternatives on a wet surface is the kind of gap that, in the real world, separates an avoided collision from a statistic. And get this, Continental holds strong OEM partnerships with some of the most performance-focused automakers on the planet. Those manufacturers have engineering teams whose entire job is evaluating every component that touches their vehicles. They keep choosing Continental. That is not loyalty. That is evidence. Bottom line, Continental does not negotiate with the road. It dominates it. And finally, the brand that turned tire safety into an exact science. Brand number 9, Michelin Safe. Best Michelin is the North Star of the tire industry. That is not hyperbole. It is the conclusion that independent testing organizations, automotive manufacturers, and safety researchers have arrived at consistently across decades. From its origins in motorsport engineering to its current position as the gold standard of everyday tire performance, Michelin occupies a position in the market that the brands on our skip list are not even in the same conversation with. Here is the thing: the technology gap is real, and it is measurable. Michelin's proprietary Evergrip technology is designed to maintain performance as the tire wears, meaning the grip you have at 20,000 kilometers is not dramatically inferior to the grip you had on day one. Translation: most tires get worse as they age. Michelin engineered a tire that ages with dignity. The research and development investment behind that single technology would exceed the annual innovation budget of most budget manufacturers several times over. The real kicker is the total cost of ownership story. Yes, Michelin commands a premium price, but longer lifespan, better safety margins, and lower long-term risk fundamentally change the financial calculation when you run the numbers honestly. You are not buying an expensive tire. You are buying fewer replacements, fewer compromises, and a materially lower probability of a catastrophic failure in conditions that demand everything from your tires. And get this: in global performance testing, Michelin does not just score well, it consistently sets the benchmark that every other manufacturer is being measured against. Bottom line, Michelin is not just a tire, it is what the rest of the industry is chasing. So what does all of this actually mean for you? Here is the uncomfortable truth that the tire industry's marketing budgets are designed to obscure. Tires are the only part of your car that physically touches the road. Not your engine, not your brakes, not your four-wheel drive system, just 4 contact patches, each roughly the size of your hand, deciding whether you stop in time or become part of an accident report. The industry in 2026 has divided into 2 philosophies. One is racing to the bottom, shaving costs, stretching materials, flooding the market with products that look like value until the moment you actually need them. The other is engineering tires like the safety-critical technology they genuinely are. Here is the thing: every dollar you save choosing the wrong brand up front carries a risk premium that the price tag never advertises. And get this, the brands on our skip list are not failing because they are dishonest. They are failing because the physics of wet roads, emergency stops, and degraded rubber compounds do not care about their price points. The road is the final test, and the road does not grade on a curve. Bottom line, do not buy tires based on what they cost. Buy them based on how they perform when the conditions stop being forgiving. If this video saved you from a costly mistake, or potentially something far worse, hit subscribe right now. We publish the truth about 2026 automotive decisions that the industry would rather you never saw. No marketing, no fluff, just the reality of what is actually out there and what it means for you and everyone in your vehicle.